Don't act all high and mighty over thousands of dollars. You're able to live comfortably thanks to my son. Irritated, she tells Nathan. Nathan, why don't you stop taking care of this trashy wife? I'm sick of Catherine always complaining and acting all high and mighty. You can find a younger and more wonderful wife than her. Nathan smiles as if he doesn't entirely disagree. Then you can leave anytime you want. He says. I realized that I had no allies in this house. Without a word to say in response, I locked myself in the bedroom and cried alone. However, the next day, I heard something surprising about Nathan from my boss. If that's the case, I'll gladly divorce him. I decided to get a divorce and started preparing for it. My name is Catherine. Nathan, my current husband, joined the circle I belonged to as a new student when I was a third-year university student. Nathan was a self-confident boy with an unusually high sense of self-esteem who was clearly doted on by his parents. With his natural cheerfulness, he quickly fit into the circle and was loved by those around him. However, I had almost no opportunity to talk with Nathan one-on-one like that, and soon I became busy with job hunting and graduated from university. The next time I met Nathan was during my second year of work. He came to my company's interview for sales position. Catherine? It's Nathan from the circle. He said. It seemed like my company was his first choice, so he started contacting me frequently to ask about the company. We started going out after we went out for drinks several times to talk about the company. And Nathan successfully got an offer for sales position at my company, and we started working at the same company. Socially adept Nathan continued to expand his network at work and seemed to be loved by his superiors. And 1 year after Nathan joined the company, he proposed to me. I had a feeling that I would marry Nathan someday myself. But what worried me a little was Nathan's mother. It was clear from Nathan's words that his mother still doted on her only son. Oh, hello mother-in-law. My name is Catherine and I'm dating your son Nathan. I said nervously when I went to greet her at Nathan's house. But his mother just said without even smiling. Catherine is 3 years older than Nathan, isn't she? Yes, Nathan is my junior in the circle. Don't bring university hierarchy into our home. Do you understand that Nathan has a higher position than you now? It seemed that his mother didn't like that Nathan had chosen an older woman as his wife. His mother didn't openly oppose our marriage because she didn't want to be hated by Nathan, her only son, but it didn't seem like she approved of me either. Even after we got married and started our new life in our new home, every time we visited Nathan's parents' house, his mother would complain about me in a petty way. Catherine continues to work even after getting married. Yes. With Nathan's help, I'm able to balance work and household chores. Help? You're not making Nathan do household chores too, are you? We both work so. Even if you say you both work, you're just an office worker, aren't you? And Nathan is in sales? Even if it's the same company, there's a world of difference between being a star salesman and just doing menial tasks as an office worker. I looked at Nathan for help, but he seemed happy when his mother called him a star salesman. This isn't good. Giving up on relying on Nathan, I had no choice but to endure his mother's verbal abuse every time we visited their house. As we continued living like that, it seemed like Nathan became busier with work and started working overtime and on holidays more often. He came home late and left early on weekends, so we started seeing each other less often. Then one day when I was alone at home, I received a letter from an unfamiliar sender. When I opened it up, it was a debt collection notice. That night when Nathan came home late again, I confronted him. Nathan, there's something I want to ask you. What? Didn't I tell you that I'm working overtime today so you can go ahead and sleep? I confronted Nathan, who was trying to take a shower looking annoyed, with a debt collection notice. This means you have debt, right? Explain yourself. Nathan turned pale when he saw it. And no, it's not like that. This is for entertainment expenses. Entertainment expenses? Yes. It's for work. I had a sudden appointment with a client and didn't have any cash on me that day. But don't you have the company card at home? That day, I happened to forget the card at home. So I had no choice but to leave the office during lunch break and borrow money in a hurry. But still, isn't this amount too high? The amount written on the debt collection notice was $7,000. Well, I thought it would be better to borrow it all at once than to borrow little by little. It's for entertainment expenses anyway, so it will be covered by expenses. Nathan said that as if he was relying on me. Can you pay for it with your savings until it's reimbursed as an expense? What? Why should I use my savings? If we don't pay it back soon, interest will accrue. And we also have to pay off the loan for this apartment from our savings. I wasn't entirely convinced, but I couldn't bear the thought of paying such high interest. So I hurriedly transferred $7,000 from my account, which I had been saving since before we got married, to repay the loan. Nathan seemed to have learned his lesson and said he wouldn't go out for entertainment anymore. He even said he wouldn't go to work that weekend and spend time at home instead. Oh, by the way, why don't we visit my mother after so long? I wasn't too keen on the idea, but I felt sorry for not having visited her since Nathan got busy. So I went with Nathan to visit his mother after a long time. His mother was overjoyed to see her son after so long. She was still cold towards me as usual, but I had given up on caring about that anymore. Whenever his mother seemed like she was going to complain about me, I would stand up and go to the kitchen. It was better to be busy making tea than listening to her verbal abuse. As I finished preparing tea and headed back to where Nathan and his mother were sitting, their loud voices stopped me in my tracks. Is your married life really going well, Nathan? You're not being bossed around by Catherine or anything like that, are you? Nathan answered in a self-important tone in response to his mother's voice of concern that I had never heard before. Of course not. Catherine does whatever I say about housework or money. She even hands over her savings whenever I ask her to. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Was he talking about me taking on his debt the other day? Nathan continued. If there's anything you want, just tell us. Catherine still has plenty of savings left, so she'll buy you whatever you want. That's right. Thanks to Nathan, an old hag like her was able to get married, so she should do something in return. His mother said with a laugh. I couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. Please stop this already. The two of them looked surprised at my voice. That savings is money that I've been saving little by little since before we got married for our future. And besides, I didn't give anything to Nathan. We just agreed that he would borrow it until it was reimbursed as an expense. Nathan said as if he were clinging on to me. Then when it's reimbursed as an expense, why don't you buy something for your mother with that money? You've ignored her all this time as your wife, so you should do something as a son-in-law. Nathan didn't seem convinced by my appeal at all. His mother agreed with Nathan's words. Nathan is such a kind son. Compared to him, Catherine is a stingy wife who doesn't even want to give her family a small gift. I immediately refuted. Wait a minute. If it's just a small gift, then I'm happy to give it. But what I lent Nathan was $7,000. That's a huge amount of money. However, Nathan's mother was dissatisfied and said to me, don't act all high and mighty over thousands of dollars. You're able to live comfortably thanks to my son. And then, while irritated, she told Nathan. Nathan, why don't you stop taking care of this trashy wife? I'm already sick of Catherine who just complains all the time. Nathan can find a younger and more obedient wife. Nathan laughed as if he didn't really mind. Yeah, maybe I should have married a younger and cuter girl. He said to me with a laugh. And then he said. Then you'll be out of here. You can leave anytime you want. I realized that there was no one in this house who was on my side. So I locked myself in the bedroom and cried alone. Nathan didn't even notice my state and drank the tea I made in the living room with his mother until she left. The next day, when I went to work feeling down, my boss noticed right away and asked me what was wrong. Oh, it's just that, there's trouble at home. If it's okay with me, would you like to talk about it? My boss said that and listened to my story quietly. I told him everything about Nathan's debt and yesterday's verbal abuse. Then my boss thought for a moment and said something difficult to say. It's about Nathan. What he told me next left me speechless. I never thought that Nathan would become famous in part of the company for such a thing. If that's the case, I'm happy to divorce him. After hearing my boss' story, I decided that I really wanted to leave home. A week later, when I was taking paid leave, Nathan's mother came to my house with luggage. When she saw me, she spoke coldly. Oh, Catherine, you haven't left yet? From today on, I'll take care of Nathan, so please leave quickly. You're going to take care of him, are you planning on living here? Yes, until our house is finished. Finished? If you divorce Nathan, he'll come back home again. So we decided to renovate our house so that Nathan and I can live comfortably. We're demolishing that house from today on. It seems that in her mind, Nathan and I have already decided to divorce completely. Well, now that I've decided to get divorced myself, it's not wrong either. However, I never thought that they would go so far as to renovate their home so that they could live together with their son. But isn't renovation expensive? And didn't you say that there wasn't much money left from your father-in-law? That's okay. Once we don't need your help anymore, we can pay for the renovation costs with Nathan's salary right away. With Nathan's salary? Didn't I tell you? There's a difference in how much you earn between an office worker like you and an up-and-coming salesman like Nathan. If you know how much of a nuisance you are yourself, then just leave right away. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. What? What's so funny? I explained the story my boss had told me to Nathan's mother, who was curious about what was going on. Nathan is going to be fired soon. What? Nathan's mother screamed in surprise. Then I continued. Nathan said he would use $7,000 borrowed from me as entertainment expenses, but apparently he used it for private purposes. What? Nathan's mother turned pale. Then she grabbed me with great force. Catherine. Why are you working at the same company as Nathan? This is when couples should help each other. Tell the president to withdraw his dismissal decision. I said incredulously. Couples? Didn't you tell me to leave Nathan and get out of here? Who is saying couples should help each other now? Oh, I see. Well, I'm definitely planning to divorce Nathan. What? You're going to abandon him when he loses his job? You're such a terrible wife. Don't you have any compassion for Catherine? Nathan is the one who lacks compassion. He's been cheating on his family. The first thing my boss told me was that Nathan had been seen by several employees dating another woman during work hours. It seems that the money he fraudulently claimed was also used for dates with his mistress. I decided to divorce Nathan not because he's going to lose his job, but because he's been betraying me all along. I can't continue my married life with someone like that. As expected, Nathan's mother couldn't defend him any longer. She just hung her head and fell silent. I left her like that and packed my things before leaving home. That night, Nathan called me after returning home. Catherine, is it true that you left? Yes. Didn't your mother tell you? All she said was that Catherine left, and then she fell ill. What happened? Please come back right away. I coldly replied to Nathan, who was begging me. What are you talking about? You were the one who told me to leave. I didn't mean it seriously. I thought you wouldn't leave me. I can't live with you anymore. Stop being so stubborn. How long are you going to sulk? I began to feel more and more angry at Nathan, who was completely unaware of his own wrongdoing. It's you who needs to stop being stubborn. I know everything. Nathan asked fearfully what I knew. You've been cheating on me. And the $7,000 debt you borrowed from me was used for dates with your mistress, wasn't it? Why would you say that? I could imagine Nathan being flustered on the other end of the phone. My boss told me everything. Several employees saw you dating your mistress during work hours. You can't deny it. I'm going to start divorce proceedings right away. I then calmly explained what would happen after our divorce. First, you'll have to pay back the $7,000 I lent you. And I'll also be seeking compensation for emotional distress. Wait a minute. I couldn't even pay off my debt, so there's no way I have that kind of money. I don't know anything about your situation. My demands won't change. Catherine, please reconsider. You were happy to marry a younger and popular guy like me, weren't you? Let's not get divorced and continue helping each other as husband and wife. I don't think there's anything you can do for me anymore. Why not? We've been living comfortably thanks to our dual income. Your debt ruined everything. And we won't be working together anymore. You're fired. Fired? Me? Nathan apparently hadn't heard about being fired from his company yet. Your coworkers have been talking about how you're all talk and no action at work. They've noticed how careless you are when it comes to important tasks. And they've found out about your fraudulent expense claims too. Nathan was only popular at first because he was friendly with everyone. There are no benefits for either the company or myself if we continue working together. I hung up on Nathan without another word. Nathan continued calling me many times after that, leaving messages on my answering machine saying things like, please help me and let's start over. But he was too persistent, so after a few days, I blocked his calls. I went through legal procedures such as property division with a lawyer after that. We decided to sell the house we had lived in until then for property division purposes, but it didn't sell for much. As a result, only the loan remained unpaid. I also had to bear the burden of the loan, but I was able to pay it off thanks to the $7,000 that was returned and the compensation. However, Nathan, who was fired from his job and had no prospects for future income, was unable to pay off the loan and was forced to declare bankruptcy. In such a state, he could not afford to pay for the renovation of his parents' house, so they had no choice but to sell it. Nathan and his mother lost their home. It was difficult for the two of them without any income to find a place to live. They managed to find a job at an inn where they could live in. However, Nathan's salary alone was not enough to make ends meet, so his mother was forced to do physical labor and became exhausted. Nathan, who had lost his only advantage of being friendly with everyone, is now treated as a useless person even at the inn where he works. He is ridiculed by younger staff members. On the other hand, I worked hard at my job as if to counteract the shock of my divorce. My boss saw my efforts and gave me a promotion with a significant raise. I have been going out for drinks with my boss who has been helping me with various things since we got married, and recently he confessed that he wanted to date me privately. Unlike Nathan, who was unreliable, I may have finally found a reliable and trustworthy partner. With such thoughts in mind, I entrust my hope for the future. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel.